This is the last note for Unit 7 on finance. So this note will be discussing operating a vehicle. So the largest cost of a vehicle is the purchase. However, the entire time you own a vehicle, you will continue to pay additional payments. When owning a vehicle, you must be prepared to spend money that you will never see a return on. So some of you might know that already. Likely most of you don't, but although all that's saying is although obviously your vehicle is a large cost, one of the largest purchases you'll make, there is going to be a lot of extra charges that you won't necessarily get any benefit to and won't be able to kind of make that money back. So the first thing we're going to talk about is operating expenses. So a fixed cost is a cost that does not change in value. So it's fixed, right? It's not changing. A variable cost, on the other hand, is a cost that can vary, which just means change. So a cost that's not going to be consistent over time. So it says list the fixed and variable costs relating to owning and operating a vehicle. So a fixed cost, if you lease your vehicle or like we talked about in the last one, if you're financing your vehicle, you're going to have a monthly payment. That monthly payment is going to be the same, right? So say it's $500. It's going to be $500 every time. It's not going to change based on something else. Something else that's going to be the same over time is your insurance cost. On the other hand, a variable cost could be gas, right? Maybe 1 week you're just casually driving to school or to work, and then the next week, I don't know, you go on a camping trip or a fishing trip, and you're driving a lot further, so you have to spend a lot more money on gas. Another variable cost is maintenance. So maintenance is going to depend on your vehicle, right? If something goes wrong with your vehicle, obviously you're going to have to pay a lot more than maybe another month where you just had to get your oil changed. Okay, so those are just some examples of fixed and variable cost. So talking about insuring a vehicle. So a deductible is a certain amount of money which is paid to the insurance company before they will pay a claim. So for example, say you're driving your car and a rock hits your windshield and it shatters. So what you'd have to check is how much it's going to cost to get your windshield replaced, and then you could go to your insurance company and say, this is how much it's going to cost for my windshield to be replaced. How much is my deductible? So if they say it costs, I don't know, $1,500, okay, $1,500, and they tell you your deductible is $1,000. So that means you have to pay $1,000 and they will pay the other $500. So a deductible doesn't really work in our favor, but it's kind of how insurance companies make their money. So they say, yep, we'll help you with your car accident and the cost of that, but you have to pay this amount first. And you should know that deductible amount as soon as you set up your insurance. Okay, so let's look at an example here. So it says Ralph is 19 and single, and he owns a 7-year-old mid-sized car. He called several insurance agents, and the lowest quote he received was $2,620 per year. There are 2 payment options. He can pay the insurance premium in full once a year, or he can make monthly installments of $230. So part A says calculate the annual cost if he chooses the monthly installment. So remember, when we see that word annual, we know that that means yearly. Okay, so in order to figure out how much these monthly payments are going to be over the year, we're going to take our amount. We know that there's 12 months in a year, so he would be paying this 12 times. Multiply those together. If he chose to do monthly installments, he would end up paying $2,760. Part B says calculate the difference between the two payments. So anytime we see that word difference, we should know that's just asking us to subtract. Okay, the difference between the two. So for our monthly payments, $2,760. If we pay it all, if we just pay it once, $2,620. That means the difference is $140. Suggest reasons why Ralph might choose each option. So, if he pays once, he's going to save $140, right? So that one's pretty obvious. A benefit to paying monthly is that he doesn't have to have all that money up front, okay? So he doesn't to have the money up front. So that just means like right away. He doesn't have to pay it all right away. Okay, what factors affect someone's insurance rates? So there are many, many factors. And I don't know, maybe some of your parents are involved in insurance and can give you a bit more. But I'm just going to give you some general ones. So how old you are, typically your insurance is going to cost more. I think it's until you're 25. Once you're 25, it will become a bit less. Gender actually affects your insurance rate. So males typically pay more for insurance, and their reasoning behind that is because if they've done research studies and young men are more likely to I guess get in accidents. Another thing that affects your insurance rate is going to be your location. So they look at if you're driving more in like a rural or a city, so in the country or the city. And they also look at how far you drive each day. So your driving amount. So many of you, if you do have a car, you probably are under your parents as an occasional driver. And the reason they put you under there as an occasional driver is because that means you're driving less, so you don't have to pay as much. So those are just a couple things that will affect your insurance rate.